filter in, I'm gonna, I think, get started here. Welcome to our session for the next hour, which is turn community curiosity into real scientific impact with SciStarter and the National Library of Medicine. Some quick housekeeping. This session is being recorded. It will be made available after the symposium for 30 days on the symposium website, the VFAIR's website. And then after that, all recordings will be transferred to the NLM YouTube channel for later viewing and sharing. Please do use the chat function to share comments, questions, and to answer some polls that we're gonna, some poll questions we're gonna engage you with through the beginning of our session. While attendees filter in, I'm gonna share a little bit more about NLM and our partnership with the All of Us Research Program, and why we focus a little bit on citizen science as part of that work. And next slide, Caroline. So the NLM is a partner of the All of Us Research Program, which is a program of the National Institutes of Health. The mission of All of Us is to accelerate health research and medical breakthroughs, enabling individualized prevention, treatment, and care for all of us by building a data set of 1 million or more volunteers nationwide who will sign up to share their health information over time. The goal of the program is to help researchers understand more about why people get sick or stay healthy. And by looking for patterns, researchers may learn more about what affects people's health. The National Library of Medicine and All of Us have prioritized citizen science and crowdsourcing as a focus for engagement activities with and through libraries and other community-based organizations with the goal of improving health literacy, digital literacy, and increasing participation in scientific research. We do this through funding, training, virtual programming, through the creation of toolkits and resources, and in partnership with awesome organizations like SciStarter. And I'm going to use the chat to share a little bit more about All of Us and NLM's engagement around All of Us. And then on to the next slide, Caroline. I'm thrilled to introduce now our speaker for today. Caroline Nickerson is a fellow at SciStarter, where she assists with Citizen Science Month program, SciStarter's corporate volunteer programs, and other programmatic and outreach efforts, including working with SciStarter's syndicated blog network, which encompasses Science Connected, Discover Magazine, and SciStarter platforms. She has helped educators, library staff, community leaders, and volunteers from all walks of life do real science. Caroline is a Master of Public Policy graduate from American University, where she was a Riley Environmental Policy Scholar, and is a current PhD student at the University of Florida. She also works with the UFVA Bioethics Unit, the Christensen Project, Florida Community Innovation, and the Commission on Local Debates. She was a 2019 Cherry Blossom Princess representing the state of Florida and the Grand Prize Scholarship winner at Miss Earth USA 2021 as Miss Louisiana Earth. So without further ado, I am thrilled to pass it over to Caroline, who is going to share a little bit about citizen science and maybe how you can engage your community with it.
Yes, I always like to throw the pageant thing into the bio because I actually did citizen science as my pageant platform for both pageants. The Cherry Blossom Princess program is a program, not a pageant, but we did the Stall Catchers Project, which is Alzheimer's research and was such a blast. I'll tell you more about that in this session. And then for Miss Louisiana Earth, I did the Land Loss Lookout Project with people from all around the world. And we were able to, by classifying satellite imagery, monitor land loss on the Gulf Coast to make it safer for the people who live there and more resilient against hurricanes. So you truly can do citizen science with any community that you have and all the different realms of your life. Thank you so much, Michael, for including me in this and for your partnership as always. We wanted to pose some questions to you just to kick things off. And it'd be great if you could answer these in the chat. Please select all panelists and attendees if possible. Our first one, we're just curious, have you participated in a citizen science project before? I mean, do you even know what citizen science is? And if you do, like, what projects have you done? We got a no in the chat. Okay, that's what I like to hear. You're gonna learn some new stuff today. Michael says yes with SciStarter. Love it, love it. We got some not yet, so it's perfect. I hope everybody's answer in this webinar is not yet. Someone says, don't even know what that is. You're in the right place. I will tell you all about it. Someone's done the National Weather Service. I'm guessing that's the Cocoa Roz project where you monitor rainfall. We got Sally in the chat. She's done eBird, Feeder Watch, iNaturalist. All right. Some of these words may sound very unfamiliar to you. Don't be afraid. We're going to get you right up to speed with what citizen science is. And for those who already have done projects, you're going to learn, I think, some new interesting findings in citizen science, maybe some new frameworks to think about it, and definitely new ways to engage with, just as an individual as well as with your communities. Okay, so we got some good answers there. I'm going to move to our next poll. Before Michael just told you about it, had you heard about the All of Us research program before today? So give me a yes, give me a no, give me a not sure in the chat. Oh, we got a lot of yeses coming on in. Oh, goodness. Okay, people are well versed on the All of Us research program. That's very cool. Someone said yes yesterday. That makes sense. You are attending the summit. So yeah, you have heard of it before. That's really cool. Someone says they have my spit. That's the best answer I've ever gotten to this question. I work a lot with All of Us. I'll have a slide at the end. We have a program on Friday with them where we're going to spotlight women in science and unique ways that All of Us has empowered women and other diverse groups that make the United States great, especially in in health research. So stay tuned for that. But All of Us is a really amazing effort to engage communities in real science. Okay, and last thing, I just want to know a little bit more about who's in the room with me today. So I want to know, who are you? Are you a citizen scientist? Are you a parent of a citizen scientist? Are you a teacher, an educator, a troop leader? Are you a librarian or part of the library staff? Are you a researcher or a practitioner? Are you just a bored person on the internet, or are you none of these? All right, librarians are in the house today. Sally is a citizen scientist and a librarian. Cool. I'm seeing, oh my gosh, everyone is a librarian so far. That is great, because most of my slides are targeted at librarians. So I'm really glad that I geared it at the right audience. That's very heartening to hear. And if you're not a librarian, you should be able to learn something as well. Okay, we're gonna keep on rolling here. So I always like to start with this because for those of you who haven't heard of citizen science before, there's a good chance that you're already engaging at that level. So if you like birds and butterflies, if you have ever gone outside, looked up at the night sky and tried to find a constellation, if you are curious about the brain and wish you understood it better, if you just want to understand the world around you, then you're in good company. There are millions of people just like you who are curious and eager to learn, no matter how old they are, where they are, who they are. They just want to learn and engage with science and nature. And the great news is thousands of scientists need volunteers. So one thing we like to say at SciStarter is scientists don't have enough eyes, ears, and perspectives to know everything there is to know, to understand everything that needs to be understood, to ask every question that needs to be asked. And that's where you come in. Motivated community leaders like yourselves and volunteers like the communities that you lead are like yourselves are able to partner with these researchers to answer these questions. So most often people participate in these ongoing research projects by volunteering and collecting or analyzing data. And data is just information, right? So data could be words that you write down about your observations of what you see outside, or it could be pictures that you take. Data can be analysis that you do. One of the projects I'm featuring today, Stall Catchers, it's a game that you play. And by playing this game, you're actually making annotations for researchers at Cornell University who are trying to find a cure for Alzheimer's and learn different things about the disease. So there are infinitely more examples than just that, but basically the premise is by collaborating, when communities collaborate with researchers, we're able to learn more about the world and make the world a better place through science. But sometimes people like yourselves who are so passionate and ready to make a difference can't find the researchers that need your help. So that's where SciStarter comes in. We connect them. We connect you to real science you can do, and we connect researchers to volunteer communities so they can do their vital work together. So it's SciStarter is that bridge. If you go to SciStarter.org, some of you may even run citizen science projects. I know I saw a few medical librarians in the house. Librarians have been known to do research. If you have a project, you can add it to SciStarter for people to discover, and it could be a global project or it could be hyper local. So like global, I'll go back to stall catchers again. You can play that game anywhere on Earth and you're able to do real Alzheimer's research from wherever you are, as long as you have a connection to the internet. But there are some projects where they may be studying just one stream in a particular area. Or I'll give one example. And this project's really cool because like most projects that I see come through on SciStarter, they're usually linked to like universities or research labs or government entities, like the federal government in the US does a lot of citizen science. But this project was interesting because she's a woman in Hawaii, and she was really passionate about monarch butterflies. And she wanted to understand what soil conditions would be best for their favorite food, for milkweed. So she did the legwork. She went to her local library, she did like a robust literature review, and she came up with a protocol, a really scientifically valid protocol for testing soil conditions to study what soil would be best for propagating milkweed. And she created a data form for it on this website called Anecdata, which is a partner of SciStarter's. And then she added that project to SciStarter for people to discover. And she was able to message using SciStarter's free tools every registered SciStarter user in Hawaii to invite them to engage in her project and study soil with the goal of helping monarch butterflies. So I thought that was really cool. That's a project that you can only do in Hawaii because it's relevant, just for that particular, that's how she designed the protocol. But I think it shows the fact that citizen science can be hyper local or it can be global. And you can find all of that on SciStarter. So just to reiterate, it's a collaboration. Citizen science is a collaboration between researchers and those of us who are curious, concerned, and motivated to make a difference. So it's how people can make an impact on the issues they care about and help science. Or another way we like to say it at SciStarter, citizen science allows anybody and everybody to turn their curiosity about the world into real impact. And a quick terminology note, different people call the field of public engagement in science different things. I work a lot with the Los Angeles Public Library, for example, and they tend to call their projects neighborhood science. There are some projects that go by community science, and the different people have rung in on that. And community science most often refers to projects that are co-created with the community. Citizen science, we tend to use that term at SciStarter as more of a catch-all for all the different types of public engagement in science. But we will work with anyone who calls it whatever term works for them, as long as they are doing real science. So citizen science, there have been some major discoveries. And most of these facts that you're about to see on my screen, they come from publications by Dr. Karen Cooper at NC State University. But because of citizen scientists, we now know that bird populations in North America have declined by 50%. We know that birds are breeding earlier. We know that 50 plus types of bacteria live in your belly button. This is a fun project also from NC State. They asked citizen scientists, volunteers from around the US to swab their belly buttons and mail the swab to the lab. And that's how we found out that 50 plus types of bacteria live in your belly button. We also know that the first flowering of 19 species of plants has moved 9 days earlier over the past decade. That's because citizen scientists have gone out, participated in projects like Nature's Notebook, monitored a particular plant, indicated when it's blooming, and sent that data back online through a data form to the project. So when enough people send in their observations, we're able to understand the world better and have findings like this. We also know, because of citizen scientists, that there's a new type of aurora in the night sky, and the citizen scientists named it Steve. This is one of my favorite stories. It was actually a group of Canadian scientists, and I've had the privilege of meeting them. And yeah, they were just really enthusiastic, hobbyist astronomers. And based on their observations, they found a new type of aurora in the night sky. And because they discovered it, they got to name it whatever they wanted, and they chose Steve. NASA has since backronymed that. Backronym is when you create an acronym after the fact, and now it means something scientific, but Steve has a special place in my We also know because of citizen scientists and their observations, there's another Jupiter-sized planet. And this one's a little bit of a kind of scary one because of, and I bet it's really important, because of the observations of citizen scientists from different wildlife monitoring projects, we know that invasive mosquito species have now arrived in Germany. So you can see the relevance of citizen science to our lives, right? That's a super important finding. That's something that can inform public health guidance. So it's really good that citizen scientists were able to discover that. So why do we do this? And I think this is important for you all to think about in the library space. You know, it accelerates important research and discovery. It's real science, but it's also great for your communities. You know, it broadens the scope of who can contribute to science and enables participants to engage in data collection, analysis, and interpretation. So it has learning benefits for the people who are participating in addition to moving science forward. And the learning benefits also extend to the nature of science and scientific reasoning. So it could potentially increase trust in science too. I think part of that value proposition is when people are volunteering for these projects, like they're doing the science themselves. So that definitely enhances the idea of trust in science because they have a real active role in creating new knowledge. And it also, you learn different soft skills. I've worked with people of all ages, everyone from Girl Scouts to retirees, and I've seen learning gains in people of all ages. When you do citizen science with students, they often learn about the subject matter, right? Like new types of constellations if they're doing an astronomy related project. But they also learn things like, you know, attention to detail and how to collect data. And that goes for people of all ages. Like it really enhances their experience and their lives by participating. So this is SciStarter. So when you go to SciStarter and you're looking for a project or event or tool, that's where you find it. I have mentioned that people add projects to SciStarter. Usually project leaders, researchers add those projects, but anybody can also add an event. So when I lived in Washington, D.C., I often would reserve a room at my local library and do meetups where I would just do projects and I'd open it to the public and I'd say, hey, come, like do a project with me. I would find a project that interests me on the project finder. I would search different things like astronomy or projects I can do from anywhere, or projects that are like online only, like gamified projects like stall catchers. And I would just pick my favorite projects and go to the library and do it. But I would add it as an event to SciStarter so people could discover my library meetups and come join me. People also add tools to SciStarter. So most citizen science projects don't require special tools. A lot of them are optimized for smartphone participation or for people to just use data forms. But some projects do require special tools. One project I'm thinking of, Earth Echo, is one I've been doing a lot recently. They have a water testing kit. So you test your local water quality for like pH levels, particulate matter, different things like that. It's a specialized kit and you can find that on the SciStarter tools database. So you're hearing a lot, right? And you might be wondering, okay, I just want a simple way to get started. So I'd recommend going to, if you only write down one link from this presentation, let it be this one. I recommend going to scistarter.org/NLM, where you can make a SciStarter account. All on this page, you can just find a training to do. And after you finish that first training, there's actually a second training just for library staff that you can participate in to get a badge. So I really recommend that too. And there are also featured projects on this page. And this page we created in partnership with the network of the National Library of Medicine. You can find the link to join the All of Us research program. You can find different health-related and environment-related projects that we thought would be a particularly good fit for libraries and their communities. And this is a page that we tend to promote a lot around Citizen Science Month. And most of the projects on this page are SciStarter affiliates. What does that mean? So, you know, there are thousands of things you can discover on the SciStarter platform, but a select number of projects, about 100 or so, have gone the extra mile and become SciStarter affiliates. It's kind of an extra stamp of approval. They've committed to being particularly responsive to their volunteers, for example, to making additional instruction videos to improve the volunteer experience. And they've also worked with us to set up an integration in the back end, so you can monitor the number and frequency of your contributions to these projects in your SciStarter dashboard. This is great for bragging rights. You can look back at the end of the year and see how much you accomplished. But for people like yourselves who might be in more of a community leadership position, you can create these things called SciStarter lists. I have a link to a blog post about how to do that at the end. And you can actually have your volunteers go to these lists and participate in affiliate projects, and you can keep track of the number and frequency of their contributions to these affiliate projects to monitor your own program's collective impact. And that's a free tool that we provide. So the SciStarter affiliates on this page are some of my favorite projects. And that's what you see when you go to this page. You see some information about SciStarter's collaboration with the network of the National Library of Medicine. You see that initial training, and after you finish that training, you have the library training open to you that you're more than welcome to do. And then when you scroll down, you see all the projects. So those projects have some real results. Citizen science is real science. I'll start with stall catchers. You've heard me say this a lot. One reason I really love this project is they have cited the citizen scientists who participate as co-authors on really important scientific publications. So this was in Nature. And the title, it probably makes more sense to the medical librarians in the room than it does to me. But in layman's terms, what was discovered was a high-fat diet increases the severity of Alzheimer's in mice, but not by increasing the frequency of stalls. So the way stall catchers works, and I recommend that you just go ahead and participate yourself, because the best way to learn is to do. But basically, it's an online game. You have these videos that are served up to you in the interface, and you analyze these videos as whether they're stalled or flowing. So you're looking at blood vessels, and you indicate whether or not the blood vessel is stalled or flowing. And by making this annotation, you're able to help the research team test different things about Alzheimer's. Like every data set is answering a different research question. And these are videos of mouse brains. And it's also gamified, so you can earn different points for it, and it's pretty fun. You can make different teams, have some friendly competition. We've had different library systems compete against each other, which is a lot of fun. And as you can see here, citizen scientists are honored as partners and get credit for the amazing work they're doing by being included in publications like this one. There's also the Eterna project featured on this page. It's another gamified project that also they're doing great work. So basically how Eterna works is you solve puzzles to help design different RNA-based vaccines. And the best puzzles that volunteers design are actually synthesized in a lab at Stanford. And this project has been super active. I'm quoting a blog post from SciStarter here. Earlier this year, Eterna let us know that they had revised a method of finding potential mRNA vaccines and a handful of vaccine molecules that appear to be more stable than the ones rolling out right now. They hope that this discovery can lead to vaccines with 3 times the current shelf life. And that's important, right? The fact that people are playing this puzzle game to design new COVID vaccines that could be better for the developing world, that can make a really big difference. This game is a little harder than stall catchers, I will give it that. You have to be a real puzzler to enjoy it, but as you can see here, they're also there's really important science at play due to these volunteer contributions. And to give another projects, because they're not all gamified, this is the Globe at Night project, also featured on the NLM page. And this is one of my favorite projects because you can do it from anywhere on Earth. So basically, they have these monthly campaigns, and this is a project that's based out of Arizona at the National Observatory. And they are trying to study the problem of light pollution. And light pollution obscures our view of the sky. It has negative health impacts, right? It can disrupt people's circadian rhythms, and negative ecosystem impacts, for example, like it can disrupt sea turtle migrations. That's always top of mind for me as a Floridian. So Globe at Night is trying to basically do a global census of light pollution. And by documenting this problem, it can potentially contribute to solutions. So in 2021, they received over 20,000 observations from 90 countries in all US states. I went ahead and threw up the United States graph on here. The way you can interpret this graph is the 0, so the left side is where there's more extreme light pollution, and a 7 is where there's less light pollution. And you can see that light pollution, the observations here, is very high. And Globe at Night was really good about, recruiting across the country in rural, urban, and suburban areas. So it shows that overwhelmingly in the US, there's a lot of light pollution. And Globe at Night has also been really innovative in partnering with different communities. Like, for example, there's a library in Missouri called the Riverside Library, where they basically did the Adopt a Street program of Globe at Night. And they had library patrons go street by street and map out light pollution in their whole town. And results like that can allow for interventions to help reduce light pollution, like changing street lights. So they point down onto the road, still illuminate the road for public safety instead of up into the sky. Things like that. So really cool project, environmental monitoring. And also you get to learn about the different constellations and study them. And the way you document this light pollution is you go outside, you look in during one of Globe at Night's monthly campaigns, you look for their constellation of the month and you indicate how many stars in that particular constellation that you're able to see. And if you can't see certain stars in it, your view of the night sky has been obscured by light pollution. So a really elegant project. There are also special tools you can use for it, like a sky quality meter. Libraries have included that in different kits that patrons can check out. But you can participate in this project without those tools by just using your eyes, even though the tools do augment the participation in the project. Another project on the NLM page is IC Change. So this is a global environmental monitoring project. They're asking people from all around the world to basically describe what's going on in their community, and they're honoring people's lived expertise. Saying that people at IC Change use a lot is you're the expert in your own backyard. So if it's unusually hot at a given time of year, or if it's flooding where it doesn't usually flood. If there's a really negative impact on you of a particular environmental hazard, IC Change wants to know. So there have been enough observations in Miami, for example, for IC Change to partner with the city of Miami for infrastructure improvements. In New Orleans, people have indicated the impact of extreme heat on themselves, and the city government has been able to partner with IC Change to be proactive about the health impacts of extreme heat. And just globally, if you go on IC Change, people are monitoring the environment every single day. Another project featured on the NLM page, it's currently under the name Flu Near You, but they're actually changing it to Outbreaks Near Me. Just by indicating whether you're healthy or sick, you're just Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you again.
Okay,
I just lost your slides. Yeah,
overheated for a second.
Oh, okay.
I think Dells have been doing that with Zoom recently. So Michael, I'm actually going to switch to phone if you want to share the slides.
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. Okay.
Thanks everyone for your patience.
Yeah, just give us 1 second.
I think that's where you might have been at.
I was on IC Change, if you want to
Okay.
go ahead. Perfect. Yeah, thanks everybody for your patience. It's a Zoom time we live in. Okay, so move on to the next slide. There we go. Yeah, it's the last one we were on. So yeah, if you go to IC Change, just people globally are monitoring and contributing to solutions. We'll go to the next slide. So we talked a little bit about outbreaks near me. So just by filling out a simple survey about whether you're healthy or sick, you're able to help researchers at Boston's Children's Hospital and Harvard understand where the next outbreak of COVID-19 or the flu could be. So that's a really popular project that people across the US are participating in. And we'll go to the next slide. And this is another one I wanted to feature because it's gamified and one of my favorites on the NLM page, Narika. This is a project based out of Trinity College in Dublin, but it is global. You can play it from anywhere. So it's a project where you can monitor, like you can do different memory games, dementia games to help these researchers monitor mental health and contribute basically to one of the biggest brain science studies that have ever been attempted in the citizen science space. So that's a really cool gamified project you can do. We'll go to the next slide. I wanted to give a big shout out to Citizen Science Month because this is a big event for libraries, especially. And for many of you mentioned at the beginning that you haven't done citizen science before. So this could be a particular good way for you to kind of dip your toes in and get started. So April is just around the corner. It's this coming Friday. And I think you should make it your month to engage. And you could attend some of our virtual programs that we're doing, our other virtual programs that libraries around the world and different community-based organizations have added to SciStarter. And you can also potentially plan your own.
If you could still hear me, Caroline, I lost you for just a second.
Oh, can you hear me?
This is Sharon. I was able to hear her.
Yeah.
It might help if you turn off your video too as well, Carolyn, for bandwidth.
Oh, okay. I think I should be good. Did you lose me at all, Sharon? Or
nope, you're still good if you'd like to continue.
Okay, great. Let's go to the next slide. So I wanted to give some examples because I know that can help make things a little bit more real. So last year for Citizen Science Month in April, a coalition of groups in Lummi Island, Washington State, they did a huge citizen science initiative to educate and involve library users about marine debris and plastic. So they found a citizen science project on SciStarter where they could monitor plastic pollution while doing a beach cleanup. So basically what they were having people do is while they were tangibly improving their community with the beach cleanup, they were logging data about what they were picking up to help contribute to, data-driven solutions. Like if we can identify particular hotspots or particular types of litter, we can trace patterns, and that science-based understanding could contribute to systemic solutions. So they picked that project, they scheduled a beach cleanup. They hosted a webinar with us where we introduced people to citizen science projects in general, as well as some conservation and bird-related projects, because that was an interest for the library, in addition to the Marine Debris Project and providing a demo about how to do that. And then they also invited people into their local library to check out tools like kits to pick up the debris with, different citizen science books, data sheets, and so much more. And you can see that display on the slide. We'll go to the next slide. And I know that many of you are with academic libraries. Academic libraries have a strong presence in citizen science as well. So here's at the Princeton University Library. They did a citizen science game day back in 2019, where people participated in stall catchers as well as snapshot safari. I threw up some games on the NLM page. If you wanted to bring that to your library, bring them to the computer lab. You can see the Princeton University Library did just that. We'll go to the next slide. And if you want to celebrate Citizen Science Month, like right now, I mean, you could plan something any time of the year, right, to do citizen science in your library, but you could go ahead and put up a book display. You know, SciStarter has templates on citizensciencemonth.org that you could download for posters or different book lists, or you could include a citizen science book in your book club. Or maybe your astronomy club at your local library, or you have other affinity groups like a story time. You can go ahead and work citizen science into those activities. We talked about Globe at Night, right? That'd be a perfect fit for the astronomy club. I will go to the next slide. So this is the Walport Public Library. They were so awesome last Citizen Science Month. Used a lot of our different templates to create posters and just embed citizen science across their entire library. And we'll go to the next slide. And they also use citizen science at their story times. And I think you can do it for the younger ones, of course, but you can also do citizen science for adult book clubs too. I recommend the Field Guide to Citizen Science as a really good pick. There's Citizen Science, which is a book by Karen Cooper that gives the whole history of the field. There are many good choices, and you can find those book lists on citizensciencemonth.org. We'll go to the next slide. Another thing I've seen libraries do is they've embedded the SciStarter Project Finder widget on their website. That's the link on the slide. And that's an easy way to just connect your users right there, right then with projects they can do. You can also customize it. So like maybe there are particular search filters that you really want your patrons, your community to engage in. You can do that as well. So definitely explore that widget. It's a free tool that's open to you. We'll go to the next slide. And that's the project finder I mentioned earlier. I just wanted you to be able to see it. You can also explore, and this might be very relevant to the folks we have in the room with us, by sustainable development goal. So if that's a push for your institution to address, you can find projects that address different sustainable development goals like life on land and things like that. You can also search by age group. So let's say that you're a children's librarian, you can search for projects that would be appropriate for all different ages. Or if you work with older folks, you can search for projects that are good for older folks. And these projects self-specify as these things when they add themselves to SciStarter. We try to help them and do some curation, and we definitely do that for the affiliates. You can also search for just SciStarter affiliates on the project finder. But like one example is like the Great Sunflower Project. It's a pollinator monitoring project. I've done it with people of all ages, but it works really well for the younger folks because all you need to do is find a flowering plant. It doesn't have to be a sunflower, sit there, and a number of pollinators like bees or butterflies that visit it. And by doing that, you're doing a point in time count of how pollinators are doing in that particular area, monitoring their populations. And because the only skill you need is counting, you can participate at pretty much any age. But I've done it, with Verizon employees, for example, through SciStarter's program. I've also done it with Girl Scouts. So that's a good project that if you search by elementary school as the age group, the Great Sunflower Project would pop up. But it would also pop up for older folks too. Next slide. And we talked about the affinity groups. I just wanted to show some more imagery of how you can do citizen science outside, inside, wherever you are, whoever you are. We'll go to the next slide. And there are other resources we provided for libraries. These have been created through support by Arizona State University, the Moore Foundation, the Institute of Museum and Library Sciences, and of course, the network of the National Library of Medicine, the All of Us Research Program. So that's our library network page. I encourage you to sign up for our mailing list. You can easily access the training I mentioned earlier, other additional resources like those book lists, and different kits. The kits are big. I'll go to the next slide to talk a little bit about that. So I mentioned Globe at Night, right? That's just one example of kits that SciStarter's created. You can download all these templates and build a kit for your library. The Globe at Night project's interesting because, you can do it without the kit, but the kit definitely helps. And I think having the kits really galvanizes participation in a given library. Some libraries that have really succeeded with kits are the Los Angeles Public Library and a number of libraries in Arizona. And circulating these, it deepens people's participation and gives them a chance to use real scientific tools to do real science. And the main component of the Globe at Night kit, you can see there are printable instructions, a star finder that really helps people find the constellation they're supposed to find. And then of course that sky quality meter that provides a very precise scientific measurement about the amount of light in that night sky. We'll go to the next slide. So, many libraries across the country have become hubs for citizen science, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. I really want to emphasize that. If you just did a project with your community, you're in a really good place. I've seen libraries co-create projects with their communities to study the local environment or local species distribution and make those projects on iNaturalist, for example, which is a platform that you can use to create projects like that. or if you just wanted to have a book display or a shelf talker about citizen science, that's great too. Or you could have a full-blown kit program and use SciStarter's resources to set that up. It's really up to you. You know your community best, and you know it's going to resonate with them. We'll go to the next slide. I wanted to give some examples of different citizen science events that are coming up. So, libraries, community-based organizations, nonprofits from around the world have added events to SciStarter for this upcoming Citizen Science Month. So this is one of them. Someone is just, getting people outside at the Grundy Library and in partnership with the Silver Lake Nature Center in Pennsylvania, just to get people monitoring their local environment. So it's something as simple as that. You can say, hey, everybody, let's come together and do a project. And you can add that to SciStarter. We'll go to the next slide. Like in South Dakota, for example, to give another community-based organization example, the South Dakota Discovery Center is having people do the Globe Observer Land Cover Project, which is from NASA, and you use a smartphone to monitor land and help them ground truth their satellite data. You have the Debris Tracker Project, where you can monitor, litter and plastic pollution. And then the iNaturalist, which is a project where you can study species distribution. That they're just getting people together for Citizen Science Month to do these projects at the South Dakota Discovery Center. And it's actually online only, I see. So I think it's not in person. They're doing a webinar for their community. So that's another thing you can do too. You could do an online event as well, especially if you have different social distancing requirements and things like that. We'll go to the next slide. So I kind of wanted to summarize everything with a bow for you before we kind of end it with questions. So step one, you can find a project on SciStarter.org/NLM. I spotlighted some of the real scientific results that have come from these projects. You can find an event to participate in this April on citizensciencemonth.org. You can explore the project finder via SciStarter.org/finder. You can host your own event featuring an existing project, and you can add it to SciStarter via SciStarter.org/add. You could create a SciStarter list and invite others to do projects. And if you put SciStarter affiliates on that list, you can actually track the number and frequency of those contributions. And if you have your own research question, you can create your own project via Anecdata or citsci.org. So it could be a SciStarter affiliate, and you can add that to SciStarter for people to discover. So there are lots of ways to get started with citizen science, but if you're looking for just one thing, just find a project on SciStarter.org/NLM this month. And we'll go to the next slide. And if you're looking for just one event, I wanted to give a plug for what we're doing on Friday. So All of Us California will be joining, I'll be joining them, and we're going to be talking about citizens, women in science, and how All of Us has really empowered that. And the All of Us research program is that project that Michael talked about at the beginning that has been such a stalwart supporter of Citizen Science Month and empowered so much public engagement in science. So if you're curious about the future of health research and how All of Us is making health research more inclusive, come to Friday's event. I would love to see you there. And you can register at bit.ly/allofusca April 1. So please, please, please come on Friday. And we'll go to the next slide. And I just wanted to have some spotlights from a blog post we did recently. There's another event on Friday that is a basic intro to citizen science. So you can find that there, and we'll go to the next slide. This is just a quick roundup to give you some of the diversity of events you can find on citizensciencemonth.org. We're working with PBS on a pollinator citizen science event, so you can tune into that on April 12th. Find it on citizensciencemonth.org. We'll go to the next slide. I'm really speeding through these, so please explore them on your own at citizensciencemonth.org. Oh, this is one of my favorites. I'm doing a trivia night with Science Friday. It's a virtual trivia night about citizen science. So if you want to test your trivia muscles, and you could also invite your communities to this or do a watch party at the library. Go to citizensciencemonth.org to find that. We'll go to the next slide. There's a program we're doing with NASA's Night Sky Network at Globe at Night on April 13th. So come to that if you want to learn more about how to monitor the night sky with NASA. Next slide. And just to reiterate, all of those events I just sped through, you can find on citizensciencemonth.org. We'll go to the last slide. And that's it. I think we might be right at time, but Michael, do we have any time for questions? You might be muted.
I took my camera off, but not my mute button. Yeah, I think we have until about 2:15, and then there's a little bit of a break between sessions. I can read out a question that I saw.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Go
so
for
this
it.
one was from Kate. It says, how do you evaluate citizen science programs in libraries in terms of engagement, uptake, in terms of patron satisfaction, education, science literacy, or in terms of analyses or publications, in terms of real world impact and lower energy consumption?
Woo, okay, so
Big
those
question.
are a lot of different things to measure. So the way we evaluate our programs is we work with Arizona State University, and they have an evaluation team that distributes surveys in regard to our different programming efforts. And we've also worked with other evaluation teams that have surveyed the scientists we work with to see how they're moving the needle on things. But the answer, I'm cheating here, is every project is different. So you're answering way different scientific research questions with stall catchers than you are with Globe at Night. So they, both assess their impact differently. But if you're looking to evaluate your own engagement and how you're moving like needle on science literacy for your own community with these different citizen science efforts, we do have some survey templates available that Arizona State created on citizensciencemonth.org within our library and community science guide. So you can find that guide on the resources page on citizensciencemonth.org. Those survey templates are free to use. But yeah, I think, every program is different. And the projects often evaluate themselves. We evaluate our efforts at SciStarter. Like for Citizen Science Month, if you come on Friday, you'll be getting a survey from me. After that All of Us California event, where I'll be evaluating in partnership with Arizona State University, how that program impacted the attendees. So yeah, it just really depends on the particular programs. Citizen science is as vast as science itself. So there's a lot of room to explore there. Cool. I would love more questions from people. Someone said science literacy survey templates would be great. I do believe those Arizona State survey templates touch briefly on that. I'm going to go ahead while I'm waiting for more questions. I'm going to put my slides in the chat, actually, just so everybody can have my links. And this is an editable link, so I'm trusting all of you not to delete things. I know that you're responsible human beings. And I just want to make sure that you have all the links I talked about and they're helpful for you. So that was my presentation for today. It's in the chat for you. Okay, I want more questions. I want dialogue. I just want your all's thoughts. I guess I'll ask Michael a question. Michael, what was your first citizen science project?
It was stall catchers, and it was, I guess, maybe like in the infancy of NLM doing some cross-promotional events for SitSci Month or SitSci Day at the time.
It used to be SitSci Day back in the day.
And we grew it up a little bit, right?
Yes.
So yeah, stall catchers was the first that I've done, and I've taken a look at like different bird counts and things like that, but not necessarily my cup of tea. But I think that's the kind of the point, right? It's like whatever you're interested in, there's probably something for you to interact with.
Definitely.
And the thing that I'll say and share is, I think the cool thing about citizen science or community science, depending on what it's called in certain areas, it's like just like an opportunity to participate in the scientific world. And yeah, it's just like kind of neat because many of these projects just like it would never be possible unless you had like an army of grad students, right? So that's like the beauty of crowdsourcing and citizen science is there's a lot of researchers that get to really advance their work because of impact and impact of people participating. It's cool stuff.
Yes, I agree. I love that stall catchers was your first project. The bird counts also kind of stress me out because I am bad at identifying birds.
Totally,
but
yeah.
I do iNaturalist.
Yeah.
I do iNaturalist a lot because they identify it for you. So you can just go out and make your observation, and the community has your back. But when you're doing eBird, it's kind of on you to identify the bird, and that's a lot of pressure.
Sure. And
Someone said, come on, birdies are fun to watch and learn. I know. One of my citizen science friends, her name is Deja Perkins. She started an initiative called Black Bird Week. She always tells me, just like go outside and start appreciating the bird, and then you can work your way up to identifying it. So maybe I'll get there someday. Oh, we have a question. Does anything exist in terms of benchmarks for equity in citizen science project participants? Depends on the project. The Citizen Science Association has a working group about environmental justice that does a lot of work in equity, especially in the environmental citizen science realm. And we have been doing more equity work, especially in partnership with our Verizon program. And then with NLM, we've made a point of strategically working with underrepresented biomedical research groups when we're doing our programmatic outreach. So definitely, once again, the frustrating answer of it depends on the program. But if you're interested in citizen science and equity, I would go to the Citizen Science Association because they have good, robust conversations about that. And then Joanne said, would a university be good for an affiliate? A project run by a university would be. So like Cornell University, for example, has a really strong relationship with Stall Catchers, and Stall Catchers has gone through the work to become a SciStarter affiliate and do the contribution tracking and all that fun stuff. Universities, SciStarter has built microsites for universities before. So if you want special customized things, we can build that for you. We did that for North Carolina State University to engage pretty much all their undergrads in citizen science. And that we've done it for Broward County schools, and there is some cost there because we're making something customized. So you could also just start with the free list tool to get your university's feet wet in citizen science. Yeah, Eber does have a check. That's true. Okay, I need to be brave, Sally. You're correct. Okay, so Alicia says, has there been any thought to working with Healthy People? Healthy People 2030 does a lot of community work and appeal in the health sciences. I actually haven't heard of Healthy People anymore, but that sounds really cool. Michael, have you heard of them?
Yeah, so I knew of Healthy People 2020 and then now Healthy People 2030. It's something that I don't interact with folks from that world on my day-to-day, but I think citizen science is probably a piece of NLM's work probably for a little while at least, right? Thanks for sharing the link, Sharon, to Healthy People 2030 if anyone wants to learn about it. Not something I interact with personally, but I have heard about it. It's like setting these 10-year goals, right? For a more healthy America. There was also a question about funding support. So some folks in this room might know all about NLM funding. You've been funded in the past. A lot of the awards that NLM offers is regional. So it kind of depends on what's going on in different regions of the country. I work for the NLM All of Us National Program, and we occasionally have mini grants available to like kickstart some citizen science events that raise awareness of all of us. So I think it essentially depends when you're looking for funding. NLM works on a 12-month schedule, usually starts May 1st, ends April 30th for projects. So there's often a variety of funding opportunities available during that cycle. So keep an eye out, and I shared a link to the nlm.gov / funding page. So please do check it out. And I'm going to also drop my email in the chat. For anyone that has any like NLM follow-up questions, you're welcome to reach out to me.
That is awesome. I'm going to actually add the link for Friday because I really want to get ready because the panel is so cool. So everyone, please come on Friday. And I'll put my slides in the chat again one more time just so everybody has them, because I know we had like a lot of different follow-ups, and you can grab any of the links that are relevant to you. Any more questions from folks? I can speak a little bit more to the academic library aspect because I know I saw a few folks who were from academic libraries. One thing I recommend doing is creating like a citizen science LibGuide. We've seen librarians do that in the past, and that's been really popular and really engaging. And you can, Jillian says, great idea. Yes, do it. And if you end up doing it, tell us, like, You can post it on Twitter and tag SciStarter, tag me, email it to us. We would love to celebrate you. You can do, webinars with the different researchers you serve about how they can, use citizen science to, broaden their mission. Citizen science has been really popular with like NSF broader impacts because it seems like a win-win for everybody involved. So you can support people in that realm. And I guess to reiterate, there's no right or wrong way to do this. I think the LibGuide though is a great place to start. Jillian says, I am obsessed with this session as a scientist, academic librarian, mama, and Girl Scout leader. Jillian, great news. SciStarter has a Girl Scouts journey, the Think Like a Citizen Scientist journey that you can do with your troop. So for Jillian specifically, what she could do is she could create a citizen science LibGuide as an academic librarian, start her own project as a scientist, or maybe make something on iNaturalist or an existing platform to answer a research question, do citizen science with her children as a mom, and then lead her entire Girl Scout troop through the Think Like a Citizen Scientist journey. So Jillian could have a citizen science fantastic time. Oh, you have cadets. Perfect. Yeah. I've seen Girl Scouts of all ages do the journey, but I think the older ones actually tend to have a little bit better time because like they're able to go a little bit deeper into the science aspects. They're not just counting pollinators, even though that project's great. They could do Eterna, for example, and solve some puzzles. And potentially build the next mRNA vaccine. That'd be kind of cool. Great. Any other questions from folks? I'm gonna go ahead and grab the Think Like a Citizen Scientist journey link for Jillian, because why not, Were there any questions you had, Michael, when you first were learning about citizen science? I'm trying to zoom back in time to what I'd want to know.
Yeah, I'm thinking of that too. So when I started working and when I was in public library work, we did a bunch of STEM programming, but never really grew into citizen science. So I learned mostly about it through my work at NLM. I think it's like a nice way, if you're in public libraries to maybe and you do regular STEM programming to maybe grow it up a little bit and either bring in, a citizen science speaker or kind of go down that next route. I think some of the fun things I've seen libraries do pretty casually is integrating just knowledge about citizen science into programs that already exist. So thinking of doing certain surveys and things like that with a captive audience, or if you have a regular walking program, which many libraries do, turning it into a citizen science walk. So I think there's choose your own adventure here, right? Whatever works best for you and your personality and your community. I think it's just a neat thing to expose people to, especially around the idea of empowering people to participate in research and to learn more about it and advance some of this work. So yeah, that was kind of my introduction into the CitSci world.
Awesome. And then Esther says, I'd love to do some health science kits for my academic library. Any ideas for the direction to go? The Crowd the Tap kit could be potentially a good kit. That's a project where people do a simple scratch test to monitor their water pipes and what they're made of. And there's some really good connections to health. Michael, do you have any other health science kit ideas?
Yeah, we still have some of those toolkits available that we created in partnership with Cornerstones of Science. So I shared a link in the chat. If you're at a library and you think that having a circulating kit around testing water pipes and learning more about what's in our water, feel free to take a look and see the toolkit, which is also available mostly as downloads, or order a physical version of it from the NLM All of Us program.
Looks like we're right at time.
Yeah.
I think final closing thoughts is I hope all of you enjoyed. I hope that you get some good citizen science done. If you have any questions, Michael's here on the NLM side. I'm here on the SciStarter side. Just get in touch with us via email. And we really appreciate you and hope you have a great day. Michael, do you have anything else for us?
No, just to say thank you so much for your time, Caroline. It's always a delight to do a presentation with you.
Yes, and sorry about my computer. Yeah, PSA to all, Dells have been overheating while using Zoom. So for my I'm going to be borrowing a friend's computer for Friday's program. Oh, register for Friday's program, everybody. That's your final reminder.
Cool. Well,
Cool.
Thanks again, Caroline. Thank you everyone for attending. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the symposium.
Awesome. And thank you again to Sharon for doing tech support for us. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, Sharon. Of course.
Of course,
Bye,
I'm
all.
going to now close the session. Thank you all.
Perfect. Thank you also so much. Take care.